Patrick Hicks Music Stories presents Every Grammys Ever, the 42nd Annual Grammy Awards, February 23rd, 2000. So it's the year 2000. It's the end of the 1990s, and we are in for a historic night. This night is completely dominated for a band that only ever had one Grammy nomination before. They're actually a band that started in the 60s and had most of their success in the late 60s, early 70s, but that one Grammy nomination was for Best Rock Instrumental, and that was at the 31st Annual Grammys. But in 1999, they released their 18th album, and it became a phenomenon. The album was Supernatural, and the band was Santana. Tonight, Santana will tie Michael Jackson's 16-year record for the most awards won in a single Grammys. They get 8 awards tonight. That also gives them the record for the most Grammys ever won by a group in a single night, even though most people think of Santana as just Carlos Santana, their leader, but technically they're a band. And if last year was the year of the woman, tonight was in a lot of ways the year of the Latin American musician. You have not only the Mexican-born Santana, but you also had a tribute tonight to Latin music that featured Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony, and a bunch of others. And this year, 2000, is when the Grammys launched a side project. That's probably not the right word, but I don't know what you would call it. They launched the Latin Grammys for the first time this year. Also, probably the most notable event of the entire night, maybe of the entire decade, and that was from Jennifer Lopez. This is the year of the famous Jennifer Lopez green dress. There was a huge meme before there were even memes. It was copied by the South Park guys.
Well, Jennifer, this is the first time in 5 or 6 years that I'm sure that nobody is looking at me.
Jennifer Lopez was nominated tonight in the category Best Dance Recording for Waiting for Tonight, which was actually won by the Cher song Believe, which was Cher's only Grammy win. She hadn't even been nominated since 1972 when she was nominated for a female pop vocal performance. You also saw the Best New Artist award going to a singer with a Latin background, Christina Aguilera. She beat out Macy Gray, Kid Rock, and, surprisingly, Britney Spears. Now, the night is totally owned by Santana, so it's no surprise he wins both Song and Record of the Year for the song Smooth, featuring Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20. In Record of the Year, it beats out No Scrubs by TLC, Livin' La Vida Loca by Ricky Martin, Cher's Believe, and I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. That song was also nominated for Song of the Year, along with Livin' La Vida Loca, Unpretty by TLC, not Scrubs, and You've Got Away by Shania Twain. And I'm sorry, can we go back to the Backstreet Boys being nominated for Grammys? The awards show that is supposed to be about quality and is not supposed to be swayed by commercial success or album sales. At least they don't have any wins. They were nominated 8 times in their career and 0 wins. Now here are the nominees for Album of the Year. The Backstreet Boys with Millennium. You're serious? The Backstreet Boys? Okay. You also have Fly by the Chicks. When I Look in Your Eyes by Diana Krall. It's her first Album of the Year nomination. Fan Mail by TLC. And finally, Supernatural by Santana. Now, before we get to the winner, let's talk about some albums from 1999 that were not nominated. Okay, so one of the biggest artists of the year was Eminem, and he does get some love for the Slim Shady LP. It wins Best Rap Album, and the song My Name Is wins Best Rap Solo Performance. Also, the song Guilty Conscience by Eminem and Dr. Dre is nominated for Best Rap Performance by a duo or group, but loses to You Got Me by The Roots, featuring Erykah Badu. The Roots are also nominated for their album Things Fall Apart in Best Rap Album. And the Album of the Year Grammy goes to...
Supernatural, Santana.
Santana's Supernatural, of course. One interesting thing about this is that last year the Grammys actually changed their rules about who gets nominated for Album of the Year. It used to only be the artist and the producer. Now it's the artists, the producers, and engineers/mixers. So there are actually over 50 people that win an Album of the Year Grammy for working on Supernatural. One of whom actually is Lauryn Hill, which technically makes her the first back-to-back Album of the Year winner since Stevie Wonder in the 70s. She also presented the award with Bob Dylan, which means that she presented it to herself. So at the end of the decade, that means we're going to look back at the Album of the Year winners from the 1990s, and it's pretty bad. You have two completely horrible choices that never should have won, Tony Bennett and Eric Clapton's MTV Unplugged albums. Then you have fine albums that just beat out much better records, Celine Dion's Falling Into You, Natalie Cole's Unforgettable, Quincy Jones' Back on the Block. Then you have some pretty good choices, Time Out of Mind by Bob Dylan, which you could argue it should have been OK Computer, but it's not an abomination. Then Santana's Supernatural. It's not one of my favorite albums, but compared to what it was nominated against, it's not a bad choice. And then you have three great, perfect choices. Whitney Houston's Bodyguard soundtrack, Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill, and Lauryn Hill's The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. I think if you're looking just at Album of the Year winners, this is maybe better than the 60s. At least not significantly worse than the 60s. But man, when you put in all those Song and Record of the Year winners, Sean Colvin and the Eric Claptons, the Celine Dion's and the Aladdin song, the 90s are just terrible for the Grammys. Let's see how they do going into the 21st century. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time for the highs and lows of the 43rd Annual Grammy Awards in 2001.